Arsenal started 2025 in winning ways after beating Brentford 3-1 at the G-Tech Community Stadium to keep up their impressive form. And with Bukayo Saka's injury, Arsenal needed different players to step up, with Nwaneri coming in right wing and changing the team in a positive light. In this video, we're going to go through every single involvement that he had and why he has probably locked down that spot for the future. So let's get into it. Now, there's no doubt about it, a lot of Arsenal fans were definitely worried when the lineup came out. No Kai Havertz, so apparently he was ill with a bug around the camp, and there was also no Declan Rice in the midfield, which could be a threat against transitional team. However, Arsenal, especially in that second half, I thought were excellent and played the game really well, being very physical and ultimately deserving the bounces that we got in front of goal. Now, Nwaneri also got his first Premier League start, which has definitely been a long time coming. I, in the past, have said that I'm not sure if he could do this right wing role, but I was completely wrong because he proved to me and to everyone why he can start already and why that right wing spot actually is a perfect opportunity for him to play right now. Now, one of the main reasons I was a little bit concerned about him in this position is because I have seen him be able to go to the byline and dribble well in the past. However, he is that person that loves that half space that Odegaard operates in. So I didn't know if sometimes what he wanted to do was going to get in the way of that. However, what he showed that he's a very intelligent person and can use his role to work off the players around him. And I thought his relationship, especially with Timber, was so good in this game. Much better than what we saw with Nwaneri against Ipswich. And the reason why he was so much better is because we saw against Ipswich where Nwaneri didn't really cross, didn't really create, and just tried to get take-ons from deep, which didn't really help us. If you just look at the comparison of the touch map between the two players, you can already see the big improvement. Nwaneri is getting his touches within the inside half space where he's cutting inside on his left foot, which is very similar to Bukayo Saka in that sort of level. And Nwaneri's just getting them out deep near the wide stretch of the pitch, which we all know Nwaneri is probably the worst player or worst winger that we have from deeper positions, especially out wide. Now, the first thing I want to highlight is the fact that Nwaneri is just so confident. Now, I'm not going to say Nwaneri wasn't confident because he certainly tried against Ipswich, but I think Nwaneri just brings some sort of ability compared to other players we've played there where he just does not care. There is many times that we could shift the ball out to him out wide before even Timber or Odegaard have gone to help him, and his positioning and his brilliant dribbling skills are so evident to see. He can go past 2 or 3 players, he can go left or right, he can cut in and pass the ball back to Odegaard, but also have the mindful and awareness to actually wait for Timber and even pass the ball to him on the overlap or use him as a dummy. And I liked it in this game how he did both quite a lot. He wasn't doing one more than the other, which I do think is what you need to do with Timber. Sometimes pass it to him, sometimes don't. That's the best way you can keep changing it up. And what really works with him out there, I think, is his acceleration when he's in stable moments. There is moments where he will be one-on-one with a defender and it'll be like the first one to move to get to the ball, and he's so quick with acceleration, with step overs or some sort of skill to get past these players, which I actually think is something that Nwaneri just doesn't have on the ball enough. I do think he shows a little bit of it sometimes, but not enough for that role for us. Another thing I felt like he just did so well was actually working off Odegaard in swapping roles. Now, it is something I said that could be definitely doable, but it was definitely so much more able on the transition. Arsenal were able to get the ball up with Odegaard maybe pushing down that right hand side, and he could make them runs into the half space without having to have the need of Timber making them or giving us a risk to even get counted ourselves, because you don't really want Timber the defender to be doing that all the time. Nwaneri just showed so much awareness and ability to keep running into these channels and to help Odegaard, and he's got so much great ability to drive with the ball, which we have mentioned multiple times, that when there is space in front of him, he is not afraid to actually run at it, which I can't say the same about a lot of the players we have tried to play in their positions. Now, Arsenal's attack in this game definitely had its moments, but I do think overall it was a much more cleaner game. I think that we saw the balance. I mean, you can see the balance stats in front of you where it was so much more better than we've seen throughout this season, which a lot of the players deserve credit for, and I'll probably be going into a little bit more in a video coming this afternoon. However, I do think another interesting tactical piece that we actually used was Merino yet again playing in that central attacker midfield role while Odegaard came deeper. Now, we mentioned this a few weeks ago where Merino would create space and Odegaard could put the ball through to people like Jesus on the run, and also there was different variants of this, of Jesus coming over as well and occupying that space. But this allowed Odegaard to create from deep, or at least be a little bit of a sustained passer, at least from there. And not only did you have Merino in that role as that person that's going to tick the ball along and drag players into them half spaces, you have Nwaneri and Timber, who are two players confident at running with the ball and dribbling prowess, which I actually felt like it worked very well in this game on that side. But quite possibly what I liked the most about this Nwaneri performance out of anything else is the fact that he does not necessarily need players around him to give him space. pace. He is so confident and so good that he is able to go on a 1v1 and at least try and put the ball in. Like we mentioned, that acceleration comes into it, the dribbling prowess also. But it's also just about decision making and making sure that you actually can be enough. We give you the space for them one-on-ones deeper, so, you know, go and run at the players. And I felt like he did that so well. And something that he really did do in this game, which I'm not that surprised about, but I haven't seen it too much for him in the midfield positions, was how much he actually crossed the ball. Now, I knew we'd definitely benefit from him being a left-footed player and cutting in and being able to do them curled crosses, because I don't think some of our players are the best at doing that. But in this game, he made 7 crosses and only 2 of them are completed, but that's not really the point you should get. Of course, you could possibly improve at this sort of level, but the third goal is a complete great example of just showing the ability to actually just get a ball in there sometimes. We've said it as well about Arsenal needing to shoot more, and I felt like we did a little bit in that second half. That's exactly what we've got to do to just get these bounces towards us. And in this situation, we don't do anything fancy, you could say. It's basically the same setup we've done all season. We have a midfielder crashing in, we have the striker in there as Jesus, and then we have Martinelli, the left winger, on the back post. Now, Martinelli's not even in the box because he crosses it so early, but this helps us because it is a good ball. It gets greatly headed out by Brentford, and then Martinelli is there for the second ball in that position that we are waiting for. And sometimes we just need to take some more risks, I think, to achieve goals, and Nwaneri was doing that, and I think that really made us a lot better in the final third. And especially, I think, when this happened in the second half, it just became a point of passing the ball to Nwaneri and seeing what he can do. There was many opportunities where Timber would come inside, Odegaard would go behind him, and he wouldn't pass it to them. He would stand up, see his options, and just go for the cross or try and get at the defender, which is exactly what you want players to do when we play for a team like Arsenal and they have the ability that he has. And not just in the final third, I think his transitional based style really is helping us. I mean, there was many moments where he's down the byline deeper, and the skill that he does, I mean, that one in the second half, the one that everyone's talking about, just shows how much confident he is and how good he is as well. He can really take these players on and drive Arsenal forward. Maybe when we're being pressed high like Brentford, I think he would benefit against teams like this as well, where it just helps the team so much because we've finally got someone that isn't always going to play their safe balls, and we've got someone that's going to run with it. And the carrying work he did, the dribbles he did in the game were just incredible. And there's definitely things you need to refine in his game. Of course, he's only 17, you know, he's starting in the Premier League. It's an incredible level to be at. But when he has the confidence and the intelligence, I think more importantly, to do the things that he can, and not even looking at that, he is just a player that Arsenal have needed. We've needed someone that can progress the ball from deep. We need someone that can run with it more. We need someone that can cross better and put the balls in the box. And some of them, you can say that's why we signed Sterling, who just isn't in the team. And although it was a transitional based game, because Brentford are very much like a team like that, we did still have a lot of pressure down the right hand side with them having a lot of players coming over. And I do think Nwaneri operating that half space in the early press or even on the ball, where Odegaard can come deeper and Timber can play more as that width player, did really help. Nwaneri was in them half spaces, which got him closer to the goal and where he wants, and it'd be definitely more familiar to him from that midfield area. And it also gave him less, I think, responsibility than he would have in that Odegaard role. They could help him, they could cover for him, while he could still come wider if he needs to in deeper areas, which really helped us progress the ball up the field. And when you look at the stats that Nwaneri had, I think it just proves that he was just trying so much and was always going to create something in the final third. He created 2 chances in the game, made 22 out of his 24 passes, and despite only making 2 out of his 7 crosses, 2 passes into the final third, you know, he took the second corner in which we scored from, so that's a lot of expectation to put on him, and I think it was a pretty good delivery on that one. He had 40 touches, so he's involved around the game, and made 2 out of 3 successful dribbles. And looking at Martinelli made 2 successful dribbles out of 7 against Ipswich, which, if you're going to have that many, is decent, but he needs to be winning more. And he also worked hard defensively. He came back and helped Timber at times, and just having the ability of someone who's not afraid to take on players all the time and be smart on the ball, I think actually helped us no matter what, even if he would have had a poor game, and he didn't anyway. Now, ultimately, I was completely wrong. I think Nwaneri really surprised me. I'm not surprised by the ability and him having a good game, but I'm surprised that role worked so well for him. Now, I do think people like Marino really do help with creating space, and obviously Jesus, so it'd be interesting to see if how it would work with someone like Havertz maybe in there. I also think it kind of leaves a lot of the burden away from Odegaard, which is good. Keep him deeper, as he is good in tight areas, and I never mean to say he's not, but sometimes he does make the wrong decision, and I think going towards goal, he has been quite poor recently, so I'd rather keep him probably away from that for now. And it will be interesting to see how, if Nwaneri works in that right wing spot, if Timber isn't in the team. Now, he's suspended for the next game, and I think him and their interaction connections are very crucial. And if Partey's in there, I just can't see it maybe working the same way, but maybe that's just me being negative, because Nwaneri ultimately showed this game that he can take people on by himself even without minimal help. And this season's had a lot of ups and downs, I think, definitely for Arsenal, but we are in a great position as it is. We should just focus on ourselves, and if we continue this up, even without key players like Havertz and Saka, I think we played really well in that second half. And the emergences of Lewis, Skedi and Nwaneri this season, I think, give us so much confidence. Them two academy players are just incredible. Let me know in the comments what you think about Nwaneri's performance and if he should start that position in the future. I think he should. I don't really see any reason why not to, but I definitely think we still need to sign a wide forward. That is vitally important. See you in the next one.